Living Local Carolina with Katie Turner. Local trends, shopping, dining, and more. This is Living Local Carolina.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on Living Local Carolina. One thing I love about this show is I get to have a lot of firsts, and today I have, for the first time ever, a tattoo artist in the studio. Jerica, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you for having me.
Okay, we've been talking for a little bit, and you obviously are a tattoo artist. We're going to talk about that, but you just are an artist in general.
Right.
How did you first get into the arts in the first place?
So first, it started, back in 4th grade. I was, a child, and I started dabbling in just drawings and doodles, and I realized I was pretty good. I tried to impress a few people, and they loved the feedback from me giving them like art drawings and gifts, and so from there, it stuck with me all the way to adulthood. And now that's just like my career. That's what drives me. That's where I am.
Yeah, I can tell that you're very passionate about this.
Yes.
So where did the tattooing begin?
So I started off background graphic design, graduated for, did 2 years associates and bachelors for graphic design work. But after college, I wasn't really into, the professional corporate business type work. I'm more of like, freelance, more of like a laid back type of artist. So I kind of wanted something that was more hands-on, but not so, professional and direct and corporate. So I wanted to transfer that and my energy into, tattooing. People love my work and they want it on their body. So I was like, let me try that. After college, I was like, let me channel that, see if I can get into it. And I just started, dealing with mentors, doing my research, getting classes and getting certified to become an artist.
Yeah, it's got to be a little daunting at first.
It is. It was very scary. Very scary because people. This is life lasting. It's on people's skin, and you want it to be great. You want your artwork to what you can do on paper to reflect on skin. So that's where the transition comes in. It's kind of hard trying to master that, but if you can do it, once you can, and you can draw, once you master that and you get the technique down, it's like butter. So yeah.
That's so cool. It's got to be really satisfying too to be able to see everyone's reaction to it.
Yes.
Do you have a specific style? Doesn't every tattoo artist have a specific style?
Honestly, yeah, they do. Honestly, tattoo artists do like to stick to a style. They like to see what they master or what they do better in. But me, I wanted to go into this business not being put in a box. I hate being in a box. You're not gonna just come to me for black and gray or traditional. I like to do everything. So I definitely have tried to work on, I have a wide variety of styles that I try to work on, and I perfect everything. So from typography to I love doing portraits. I love color pieces. I love color. Anything with color. I'm a colorful person, so I try to encourage my clients to get color. Yeah. And then, just from there, they just try to, we bounce ideas back and forth, and I try to be as creative as possible.
I love it. I love it. And talking about creativity here, you do stuff outside of tattooing as well.
Yes.
Can you tell people what else what are you up to?
So right now, this last past year, I've been dealing with mixed media. So doing canvas pieces and going to pop-up art shows in different states to sell and be a part of these art shows. You know what I'm saying? So I've been doing 3D art, things that have textures and layers, and I've been playing with epoxy resin that people are familiar with. Yes. So with that, it allows me to have these pieces that should be in like an exposition but I'm selling them so they can have it in their houses and keep it as pieces and remember me that. So, and they're large canvases, what I'm saying? They're not small, they're like, wall pieces. Yeah. And then also this year I am channeling into doing flooring, epoxy resin flooring, and like countertops for like businesses and houses. So anything dealing with epoxy resin, I try to get my craft into that a little better and, perfect that so I can see where that goes.
Yeah, you can do a little bit of everything.
Right, I try to.
Love it.
I try to be a jack of all trades.
I love it. Okay, how can people get in contact with you, learn a bit more about you?
Yeah. So I do have a social media as well. I'm on many platforms. Instagram, that is at official_tatted by Jerry. And then I advertise on Facebook, Tatted by Jerry. And then also I have email, jsgraphics93@gmail.com. And then I do have my business line, my phone number. Did you want that as well?
Yeah,
so
sure,
843-534-7434. And that's all my information there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me today.
We'll be back right after this break with more Living Local Carolina.
Guys, welcome to Atlantic Beach. I am chatting with Patricia, who is a historian and knows everything about this area. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. And you?
I'm doing great. I want you to teach me what Atlantic Beach is all about. There's a very rich history here.
Yes, Atlantic Beach was founded in 1934 by a guy named George W. Tyson. He came from Wilmington, North Carolina. He had been in the war, and as a result, he decided that he was going to come here. There was a guy named R.V. Ward that sold him the first two streets, 29th Avenue and 30th Avenue, for $2,000. Okay? 1934 was a time of depression, so of course he didn't have a lot of money, but he was able to gather money from his wife's family, which was the Baldwin family, out of Conway, South Carolina, and they were able to get them the money. A few years later, there was a lady named Viola Bell that she wanted to sell the next two streets, which is 30th, 1st and 32nd.
Okay.
And so she sold it to him for $600, but it had a mortgage on it, and he had to take up the mortgage. Now, he was able to do very well for a few years with that, but he got into some financial problems, and he had to set up an organization called the Atlantic Beach Company. And the Atlantic Beach Company, he was a smart man to first see that he was in financial problems, and he needed to resolve that. So he got the doctors, the lawyers, the dentists, the professors, president of universities, the top blacks during that time, to buy land, particularly on this street right here in front of us,
Okay.
and just Ocean Boulevard, and this street here. Okay, and so they bought this, and I think his intentions was, you know what, these other people have money, and maybe they could keep paying off whatever they need to do to maintain this. And he was true about. Another thing he was also very particular about on the ocean front was to make sure he put in the deeds there would be on most of these lots here no type of, he didn't say it was high rise, but he said it would only be residential, where houses could be built. And that purpose was so that you would have the view basically of the ocean. And today, since 1934, there have only been two buildings, the Gordon Motel and also Holiday Motel, that was here. In 1954, although the Garden Motel was one of the most fabulous motels for the black people during this time. This is a period of segregation, so we didn't have any place to come to, because they wouldn't allow us unless we were working as babysitters or cooks or maids or something in the motels in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. We had no place else to come. He decided to make this a place where blacks could come. And like I said, he made sure he wanted that ocean view to be reserved for anyone who wants to come and live on, and he put it in the deeds. And that's why today, even though they put two motels, different governments was able to allow the Gordon and that one there, 1954, Hazel knocked the Gordon Motel down, and it was later on when Hugo came along, it finally knocked the rest of this down. But before that happened, they had all kinds of things here. It was like an amusement park.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you had all kinds of like Ferris wheels, merry-go-rounds, bumper cars, anything you could think of, like the arcades and stuff would have. They had this. People came here every weekend and celebrated, and these streets were packed. This is Main Street, Main Street. It was packed with people who came. They got here any way they could. They said that people had actually trucks, flatbed trucks. They jumped on those. Some of the people came at even earlier time with horse and buggy, just to enjoy the water, to enjoy themselves for the amazement of enjoying the beach. And so many businesses started along the streets and stuff.
Well, everybody, you know how happy I am to be back in the kitchen today, and I am joined by Chef Taylor, who is from Cantina Imperfecto. Thanks for coming by.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right, what are you going to be making for us today?
Today we're going to be making chile en nogada, which is actually a traditional and seasonal dish of Mexico, and it represents the flag and their heritage and the history of it.
Beautiful colors too. That's a big part of this dish, but you're gonna kind of put me to work and tell me walk me through the process of how you make this, because we want you to be able to do it at home too. And it shouldn't be too overwhelming, but there are some steps we have to go through.
Of course, yeah, don't worry, I'm definitely going to be putting you to work. You're going to be doing the dishes, you got to earn this meal.
Of course I do. So let's get started. What do I need to do first?
All right, so we'll start by grinding up our spices right here. So we're going to use a molcajete to grind up our spices. So that's some cinnamon sticks. Then we got some cloves. So yeah, just give it a little quick smash, do a circular motion, grind it up. I'm gonna start by toasting our chiles. So we're gonna toast these about 3 minutes each side, you know, depending on the heat. So I'm taking these out, and we're gonna put them in a plastic bag. You could always use a bowl and cover it with some plastic wrap.
Okay.
But you know, traditionally, grocery bag, baby. You know, in the kitchen, we always gotta multitask. So we're gonna throw in our finely diced onions and garlic. These are your aromatics for the dish. How you doing over there, Katie?
I'm sweating. I'm sweating.
So once these are translucent, we're gonna go ahead and add our ground pork. Get that all mashed up. So that our meat has some color to it, we're gonna go into our raisins. So it adds a little bit of acidity and sweetness to the dish.
Raisins,
know what?
nature's candy.
Exactly. So here we have some fresh peaches and some fresh apples. So yeah, look at those nice bright colors. Let's start on making our sauce. We're gonna start by adding our soaked walnuts that we had overnight, goat cheese.
Ooh.
I know you're probably gonna say Philadelphia
Cream
cheese.
Cream cheese.
Oh, you know, it's your kitchen. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know. So we're gonna take these out of the bag. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna peel off most of the outer skin. You wanna take a paring knife and make a nice slit 80% of the way,
Okay.
because we're gonna stuff them and we're gonna fry them. All right, can we grab your famous cinnamon?
Oh, finally.
Perfect.
Need salt.
It does. See, that's why we taste test. So we made that little slit down there. We're gonna stuff it, but not too much of the filling that we made. Start whipping our egg whites first. See how fluffy that looks?
Uh-huh.
It has its air pockets. And then you always want to lay it away from you. That way you don't splash yourself with oil.
All right, so now we are going to be plating everything up, and one of the big features of this dish are the colors
Yes,
that
of
look
course.
like the flag, right?
Yes, the white, the red, and the green.
The moment of truth. This was a huge bite for me to go in with. A lot of flavors in there, baby.
This is really good.
It's got pomegranate seed. That is amazing.
Don't forget to like our page on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. How to use the QR code. Just open the camera app on your smartphone, iPad, or tablet. Point your device at the QR code so the QR code appears on your screen. Your device will recognize the QR code and show you a notification. Click that notification and you'll come to our website. Living Local Carolina, weekday mornings at 9:30 on WBTW News 13.